Hey friends, it's Jennifer. Hope you guys are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to take pieces of all of these different fabrics. I've just gathered up some of them are in pieces, some of them are in larger pieces, but I'm going to use them all and we're going to make a quilted journal cover. And so I wanted to show you how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut a piece of batting, and you can see this is not like a high pile or anything. This is like a low pile batting, and I'm just going to cut it out about 16 by 10. And the reason I do that is because most of my journals are fit 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper folded in half. And so I know that this will accommodate that plus some, because I always like to have a little extra just in case. I don't, it depends on the journal. And so what I'm doing is now I'm just going to take this fabric and I'm going to make sure that it fits this piece of batting that I have cut out. I am not being specific here. This is not making a quilt. So I'm not trying to jump in there and cut up a bunch of squared up pieces of fabric. I'm just going in there and using the batting as a measuring guide and just cutting strips out of fabric that I have. And you'll see I'm just going to lay things down and just make sure that I have cut the strips. This is going to be a rag quilted cover, and so that's why I'm not being really strict with how I'm doing this. And so I took all of these over to my ironing board and I just ironed the fabric flat. Again, not worried about if the edges are straight or not, just making sure that everything was cut into strips. And so this is how I'm going to kind of square up those jagged pieces. Because this is not, again, like a quilt, this is going on a cover of a journal. I'm just going to take my ruler and a pencil and just make a straight line down through there and just cut them with my scissors. Nothing perfect because, again, I'm going to sew these pieces together in a rag top style, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And so now you can see I'm just going to, that was the only piece that had some jagged edges there. But I'm going to start with first just my end pieces, the front and the back pieces. And I started with this black polka dotted piece. And then I'm going to lay this printed piece, and I'm just overlapping just a little bit, just laying them down sort of in a pattern that I think that I might like. So you can see that this piece is not as long as the other pieces, but that's okay because I'm just going to take some of the other shorter pieces and I'm just going to sew those together. And you can see I'm just trimming off down at the bottom a little bit there, but I can make those work. And you can see that piece is short as well. So I'm just going to kind of flip those pieces around a little bit because I think that I will like this layout a little bit better. And so now this piece is kind of crooked, so I'm just going to take my ruler and my pencil And like I did before, just draw a faint line on there, and I'm just going to cut it off with my scissors. And so I like this. I like this particular layout. So now the first thing that I need to do is take these strip pieces here and make them into the longer pieces to sew them on my sewing machine. So I'm just going to take these pieces right here, and I'm just going to kind of size them up like I like. And you can see I'm going to go ahead and cut the orange piece off and just kind of line those up. And I'm really just eyeballing everything. I'm putting straight edges together. You can see those are kind of straight, but it's crooked at the top, so I'm just going to take my scissors and chop that off. And now I'm just going to put pretty side to pretty side, and I'm just going to sew a straight stitch at the top. You can see. Now, the other side, of course, is a crooked. So again, I'm just going to take my ruler and my pencil, because really all of these pieces were just kind of scrap. And so I realize that not all of them are going to line up. And I'm just going to cut as I go and make it into something that I like as I go. I'm not going to be really precise about it. So now that piece is sewn together. You can see it's in the strip and it fits within my batting parameters. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the green. And you can do like I did before and cut it. But if you're a seasoned person that knows how to sew, a lot of times people will just take it and do it. And that's what I did here. I don't have to cut before I sew. A lot of times I can see what I'm doing. And so that's what I did here. So I just staggered those seams a little bit onto the batting just because I liked it better. But now I'm going to take the ugly sides, the back sides of both fabrics, and put them together, and this is what's going to make the rag part. And it looks backwards if you know what I'm talking about. The seams are on the pretty side there, but that's what you want with a rag quilt. You want to take the ugly sides, the back sides of the fabric together, and sew those together in a straight line, and that's what makes the rag part on the top. And now you can see here these don't line up. They're not perfect, but I'm just eyeballing it here. And you can see that edge of that fabric, and I'm just gonna trim this off with my scissors. Again, normally I wouldn't do that, but I'm trying to show you all how you can do it, but I'm just eyeballing it up and just cutting that off to make it semi-straight. And now I've sewn those together. So you can see those seams are on the top, and that does look backwards, but that's how you want it to be for a rag quilt top. And so I'm just laying these down here just so that you can see I'm eyeballing it up where it needs to go. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect because this is not like a quilt that you need to square up. You will square all of it up eventually, but and so now we get to this wonky piece here, and I'm just going to lay it down and I'm just going to eyeball it and just cut it up the side to make it look good. If you're not good with that, or if you're nervous, then please, by all means, take a ruler and be precise as you want to be. This is just how I'm comfortable doing it, and that's what I did here. So, and again, all of those seams are on the tops of the fabric there, which looks backwards. It's supposed to look backwards. And so I'm just continuing on to sew these together and to make the rag top cover. And so now that we're nearing the end here, this is why I cut a bunch of extra strips, because by the time you sew your seam allowances, you can see I'm going to be a little short there on the end. And so I'm just going to add in this piece of fabric that I had, and I'm just going to, that I had already cut into a strip. And now that I've sewn that together, I don't want it to be extra long, but I wanted that color in there. So I'm just going to trim this down, just eyeball it. And now I'm going to add the last piece on there. And here it is. You can see it fits within my batting very well. And so the next step will be for me to take this to my ironing board to flatten all of those seams going one way and to press it out really good on the back of the cover. And I'm just laying it out here just to make sure that it all fits there, and it does. It fits really nice within that batting piece. And now the batting piece is bigger because, you know, I added a lot extra in there. And so now what I'm going to do is trim the excess off of the sides. I'm just going to go in there and give it about a half an inch. Just trim all of them up to where they're not, you know, jagged all over. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not really even taking a ruler and doing it. I'm just looking at it and doing it. So now I'm going to take some spray adhesive. I always spray adhesive my batting, and I do this in a box that I have. You can see here, I just lay the batting in the box, and then I spray it, and then I lay my fabric down, and I take the batting that I sprayed, and I put it the spray side down onto the fabric there, and spray adhesive, the ones that I use are repositionable, so you can see there, they come up, you can take them apart, take it apart as many times as you need to. And I'm just turned it over and I'm smoothing it out and I'm ruffling up those seams on the front side. And now I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and you can see here I've just sewed down each strip using the previous row as a guide, and I just went down through there and sewed the batting to the piece of rag material. And so now I'm taking some sheeting. You can see the sheet's edge there on here, and I'm just going to, I think I got this at a yard sale. It was just like a cheap Walmart sheet, and so I'm just going to lay it on here, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around it as a piece for the backing. And then I'm going to cut this edge off because this is a sheet, like I said, so I'm going to cut this hemmed edge off because I don't need that. I don't need that extra bulk on there, so I'm just cutting it off with my scissors. And then I'm going to lay it on here, and once again I'm going to eyeball this thing out again and just straighten it up a little bit. You can see me taking my scissors up the side there. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I did before with the adhesive. I'm just going to spray the adhesive onto the back of my batting there, and then I'm going to lay it down onto the sheeting. And now I'm going to sew once down the middle and on the sides of the back just to keep it all together there. And then the last thing to do is to take my scissors. These are like, I guess, chomping scissors. I'm not really sure what these are. I've had these for a while. But I'm going to use these, and I'm just going to go in there and snip those raw edges that are together. You can see, just make a little snip. Don't snip up to the threads. You can snip up to the threads. I'm sorry, just try to not snip the thread. If you do snip the thread, it's okay, because after you wash and dry it, you'll know if you did or not, and you can go back in there and just add a little stitch in there. But you're just going along there and cutting little pieces into you're cutting the fabric into little tiny strips. The more strips you cut, the more it will ruffle. And you can see I'm on my last one here. I have just put a movie on and just watching a little TV and just snipping away. And again, if you do accidentally snip the threads, it's okay, because once you wash and dry it, you're going to know that you did. You're going to see the hole, and you just take that back over to your sewing machine and just sew right there. So I'm just ruffling these up a little bit. And the last thing is to take it to the washing machine, wash it, and dry it in the dryer. And here it is. You can see it's all kind of bunched up a little bit there, but it's washed and dried, and it's turned out beautifully. And I will use this on a journal cover. I'm not going to do it today, but I will eventually. And I wanted to show you guys along the way. Hopefully this will give you some inspiration to make your own journal covers. and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. See you the next time.